Hello everyone. In this video I'll be translating and summarizing the latest Urdu broadcast by Samina Pasha to make it accessible for our English-speaking audience. Let's go through the key developments and insights in Samina Pasha's words. Today I will tell you that several leaders of PTI have been sentenced and further sentences are expected in the coming days. So what is the situation right now? What impact will the protest on August 5th have? Along with that, I will also tell you that Mishal Yousafzai has become a senator, and what happened at the conference of the Tehreek-e-Tahaffuzi-Ain Pakistan. Also, why is today so important? What will happen today? We will discuss that too. Furthermore, Mr. Trump's deal has started to get more reactions, and Maulana Fazlur Rahman has also spoken about it. There's a lot to discuss in this vlog. I request you to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Now let's first talk about the disqualification of PTI leaders and their sentences. As you all know, several PTI leaders have been sentenced, and the reaction to these sentences has already begun. The government claims that these sentences are fully in line with the law and the Constitution, and everyone knows the reality of the situation. Even the convicted ones know what the truth is. On the other hand, the free people, journalists, legal professionals are still astonished. So they are reading the judgments and becoming more and more surprised because there are so many flaws in these decisions that you cannot even defend them. For example, as I discussed in the previous vlog, if a person's crime is small, their punishment is based on the nature of the crime. If the crime is severe, the punishment is more severe. But here, everyone has been treated the same. The reason behind this is also mentioned by the judge in the judgment. The judge writes that when a mob gathers at one place and a lot of people commit a crime together, it becomes very difficult to pinpoint whose crime was how severe. So, to justify this, the judge says that in such cases, it is reasonable to treat everyone the same. In other words, it's like using one sword to execute everyone, regardless of how much guilt they carry. This is the biggest loophole. You can't call this justice. You cannot prove anyone's crime beyond a reasonable doubt, yet you are sentencing them based on suspicion, taking away 10 years of their lives without clear evidence. This is a major flaw. Another surprising point is that if a witness is proven to be lying, their testimony is considered unreliable across all cases. However, in the Faisalabad case, Fawad Chaudhry and Kayal Castro were both accused based on the testimony of a witness who later turned out to be false. The witness had claimed to have seen them at the protest, but their own witnesses disproved that claim. This made the original witness's testimony false. Normally, if a witness is proven to be false, their testimony cannot be used in any case, and no one can be sentenced based on it. But in this case, the false witness was still used, and sentences were passed based on their testimony. This contradiction shows the flaws in the decision. These are just a couple of examples of contradictions in the judgments. There are many more contradictions and flaws in the decisions that are evident when you look at them. The reason for these flaws is clear. When decisions are made in haste and are not based on justice, such flaws are inevitable. Nevertheless, the debate over these decisions will continue as long as this process continues. People who care about democracy are clearly distressed by this and have said that the trend set by these decisions provides a way to suppress any political party in Pakistan. You can imagine that these anti-terrorism courts have been functioning for the past 3 years. Do you know if any terrorist has been sentenced by these courts? Has any reporter covered a case involving a TTP terrorist? No, the cases in these courts are all related to PTI workers, leaders and activists. You can see how the system has been exploited to treat political workers like terrorists, bringing them to anti-terrorism courts and sentencing them in a crude manner. This is the biggest question regarding your justice system. While PTI workers are being sentenced in terrorism courts, no TTP member has been sentenced in these courts. This raises the question, how has the system been exploited? After the 26th Amendment, there were recruitments in the courts, and the influence of these recruitments is visible in the lower courts. Through these changes, the objectives of the ruling party have been achieved. The message sent is that the existence of PTI cannot be tolerated. No matter how decent the PTI members in Parliament are, they cannot be tolerated, and they must be removed from Parliament by any means. This shows the fear of those in power. As long as PTI exists, they will feel threatened and their system could collapse at any time. To protect this system, they are using fear tactics to suppress opposition. Now, regarding the plan for August 5th, as you know, there is a plan for August 5th, and they want to ensure that before that date, many people are sentenced and arrested. Those who cannot be arrested will be so scared that they will avoid protesting, knowing that the government is ready and has already handed out sentences. As a result, they will stay silent, fearing arrests. Even someone like Barrister Gohar, who has always spoken of reconciliation and has never used threats or harsh words, has now said that there will be no more talks and that decisions will be made on the streets. He has said that if they are removed from Parliament, it will mean that democracy no longer exists. So if someone like Barrister Gohar is this angry now, you can imagine how desperate the situation has become for PTI. As for the August 5th protest, the situation is that some leaders and workers have already been arrested. They attend hearings and get arrested, or they are already in jail due to not getting bail. The others, who are free, are now in hiding, knowing that arrests could happen at any time. The challenge for them is whether they will surrender or not. If they wish to challenge their sentences, they have to surrender first and then file an appeal, meaning they would have to go to jail and then request the court to annul or suspend the sentence. But there is another question. Will the appeals be heard quickly? For instance, an appeal against a sentence given by the Gujranwala court last year is still pending. If they wait and then surrender, will they even have time for their appeal? The situation is complex because if they do not file an appeal, their disqualification will be final, and by-election preparations will start. If they want to challenge their disqualification, they will have to surrender and fight the case in court. This is the challenge they face now, whether they will try to save their seats or avoid surrendering to escape arrest. There's another challenge regarding the protest on August 5th. If they stay in hiding, how will they protest on August 5th? If they do protest, they will be arrested, but if they don't protest, the movement will fail. Imran Khan has said that the movement must reach its peak on August 5th, but so far the movement hasn't even begun. There may have been plans for an event on that day, but now, with everyone knowing that arrests are imminent, it seems unlikely that the protest will go ahead. The government has prepared for this by creating such a terror that anyone who steps out will be arrested. This is how they have planned to thwart the protest and contain the situation. The situation is that the public should go out. So what options do they have in this case? If the people themselves come out for protests on August 5th, that's a different situation. But we both know that our people aren't in that mood. They don't go out on their own unless there's a call for it. They won't act unless someone leads them or organises the protest. So the possibility of that happening seems quite low. If these people go out on their own, it would be surprising even for me. Imran Khan believes that his people can go out, but the PTI leadership here is still in a very uncertain position as to what action they would take. Yes, in KP, for example, it's quite clear that the police's presence and action might not be as effective as in other places. So it's more likely that some rallies or protests might be planned in KP. They have also asked for permission for rallies. The Lahore people have requested permission for a rally at Minari, Pakistan, and in Islamabad they've also sought permission for a rally at Parade Ground, but they are unlikely to be granted that. Even if they do get permission, who will speak at the rally? Most of the leadership would be arrested, so it doesn't seem likely. As for the protests, today will be an important day because it was said that after the conclusion of the Pakistan Constitution Protection Movement or Tehreek-e-Tahaffuzi-Aini Pakistan conference, Mahmood Khan Achakzai would announce a strategy for protests. This was a two-day conference. When they reached the conference hall, they found out that the booking had been cancelled. However, they had arranged an alternative. All the leaders and other like-minded people gathered at a different location. They held a conference, and Hamid Mir, Kashif Abbasi, Rabia Bajwa and others were also there, including Javed Hashmi and Mahmoud Khan Achakzai. They delivered speeches. Barrister Gohar also arrived later and gave an energetic speech. The main point remains. What will the plan of action be today? The conference was held over 2 days. If we talk about the speeches yesterday, one important speech was by Alama Raja Nasir Abbas. He said that when Bhutto was put in jail, the reaction outside was controlled and then he was sentenced. Now they have imprisoned the most popular leader. Should we create another Bhutto, we won't let that happen. Alama Raja Nasir Abbas often gives aggressive statements, and he has previously announced protests concerning issues related to Shia pilgrims. He believes that resistance is the way forward. Similarly, Mahmoud Khan Achakzai and Hamid Mir also spoke. Kashif Abbasi, currently working with ARY Channel, has been facing pressure and is unable to host his program. He also spoke today, and one of his points was important. Our leaders don't have any workers behind them. There's no public support. The protection they get comes from the Constitution. He is correct when he says that freedom of speech is no longer granted to us. He emphasized that the Constitution is the only safeguard, and whether in opposition or in government, the same stance should be maintained regarding media rights. However, he also mentioned that during Imran Khan's tenure, various journalists were not allowed to appear on TV, and this continues today. He said that many people are unable to work in the media due to pressures. He made an important point about media freedom, but his speech felt a little subdued. It seemed that he didn't present the status quo aggressively, which he could have. This might be because not everyone has the temperament to take an aggressive stand. But when people stay silent or are suppressed, it becomes easier to suppress others, especially when prominent voices like Hamid Mir and Kashif Abbasi are not leading the media movement. If people like us, who don't hold much influence or financial power, don't stand up, then who will safeguard the rights of the lower-income media workers? The big question remains. If the media elites, the renowned anchors, don't stand up for the cause, then who will protect the rights of the workers? The leaders of these movements have financial stability, but if they can't take a stand, then it makes it harder for others. There's also the issue with the leaders who have made statements, including Nawaz Sharif, about Pakistan's military involvement in various international events, which raised concerns abroad. Recently, Bilawal Bhutto also made similar statements. These statements have often been challenged and raised in international courts, and it's important to ask whether such statements might be undermining national security. Speaking of national security, Maulana Fazlur Rahman has also raised an important question. Why are we hearing about deals and oil discoveries from Donald Trump and not from our own government? Why aren't they informing the political parties, provinces, or even the federal government about such developments? Why are we getting this information from foreign sources? He raised this question today, asking why the government isn't transparent about such matters. In the end, Barrister Ali Amin Gandapur recently made a statement suggesting that the army helped Taliban leaders escape, which has been criticized. India has filed this statement in the Financial Action Task Force, suggesting that Pakistan's military is aiding terrorists, and they should be placed on the grey list. Gandapur's statement has been criticized as irresponsible, but it reflects a broader issue. Many of our political leaders have made similar remarks in the past. This leads to the bigger question. Is there really a soft corner for terrorists in Pakistan, or are these just political statements? That wraps up our translation of Samina Pasha's video. I hope this English version helped you understand her message better. Please like, share and subscribe to Awami Lens to help our community grow. Don't forget to leave a comment below and let me know what you thought of this effort.